Beth?
Obviously another late defeat against 5 goals they conceded after the 90th minute this season in the Premier League, and all of those games have ended in drop points. So how frustrating to do that again today?
Yeah, frustrating, of course, because conceding a goal is always frustrating, but especially if there's no time left to come back into the game. But I think it's safe to say that they could have scored the 3-2 also a little bit earlier. What I mean with that, I think after we scored the 2-2, we were still trying, but I think it's safe to say that a few players of ours ran out of energy. And I cannot even criticize them for that, because 2 days ago we had to play an away game in Europe. We're the only team that played Champions League that has 2 days in between this time. After an away game, another away game against one of the most intense teams in the league. And I mainly, as you probably see, play the same players because of the players we have available. So then what should not have happened is that you have to win it in the end, because that's then more difficult. And that's what you saw in the last 10 minutes. I think for the rest of the game, it was completely different. I think there we dominated the game.
Son?
It was those 7 minutes where you give away those 2 goals sort of undermines everything.
Yeah.
You don't expect that from Van Dijk. He's had a great career, but these things seem to happen.
No, I don't think it's completely fair to Virgil to blame him for the first goal, because I think you could see throughout the game how much impact the wind had on certain balls. There was, I don't exactly know, but in the end of the game, Virgil hit a long ball towards Mo, and I was expecting it to go to the goalkeeper, but all of a sudden it fell to Mo. He wasn't the only one who had once in a while struggled with the wind. Your other question was?
Just defensively, it was...
Oh no, that was only the only 7 minutes. No, I agree with you, but that's not the first time this season that it's only been 7 minutes where I wouldn't even say we were struggling, but where the other team was part of the game as well. And in those 7 minutes we conceded 2. Of course, the second one was when we were down to 10. Because after the first goal, Joe Gomez had to go off with an injury. He wanted to try, thought he could, but then he couldn't. And maybe that sums up our season. It's every time something else. It's every time something special how we concede. But we concede, and the only ones to blame is ourselves.
Hi, Arne. You mentioned that the tiredness creeping in. We've seen that in a few matches this season, and form ran a bit more than Liverpool today. Just thinking back a year ago, Liverpool had all their players fit. For this match in particular, everyone was fit, everyone was fresh. Do you think maybe that have you changed any training at all that means that the players are getting a bit more tired now at all? Or what explains the tiredness coming in is my question.
Now, if Bournemouth had to run more than us, that is probably because we had 67% ball possession or something like that. So, but credits to them, that's definitely also one of their strengths. I think they're top in almost every statistic when it comes to running. That's why I think I have to credit my players. If you go 2-0 down, the way we did, and again we showed the mentality and the fitness to come back into the game against one of the fittest teams in the league, and they only have to play once a week, of course, that helps. And that's not an excuse, because a club like Liverpool is used to playing 3 times a week, but we mainly do this with the same players, and maybe last season that was a bit different. Last season we did not have 3 long-term injuries as we have now. As you could see in our lineup, I decided not to play Hugo. That wasn't because I didn't like him or he wasn't good against Marseille. That's simply because I have only one number 9 available for the upcoming weeks and months. He was out 2 weeks ago. I was with so many games to play, you have to manage his minutes. And I think for Jeremie Frimpong it's safe to say the same. In the end, just before I took him off, in the first half he was getting things, and after half time I think I could see the energy running out of him a little bit as well. So yeah, the end result is that you then play 2 players not in their favorite position with Ouattara and Dom. By the way, they did well, but it's the reality of this moment.
the goal that was conceded when there were 10 men on the pitch. There were 10 men on the pitch for Liverpool for quite a while, and nobody put the ball out of play. Was that something that frustrated you, or is that just one of those stones for you?
No, I tried to scream towards them to put the ball out of play, but actually we were quite comfortable. I think we kept the ball for quite a long time. And then when we lost it, it was the opposite. Bournemouth kept it, which is a bit easier maybe if you play against them. But even if you are down to 10, I think the way we conceded that goal was not specifically because we were down to 10 men. It's just a winger that is surprising our fullback in a situation where we could have done better. But of course, maybe when we were 11, the player that had the assist couldn't have gone as far as he could now. So yeah.
Johnny?
Arne, what's the injury to Joe Gomez, and is there any chance of bringing in a defender to reinforce you because you're so short now?
Now? Are we now short?
You've been short.
That's your opinion, eh? Joe got a knock from Ali. His knee went into, I think, somewhere over here. I think it was bone on bone. So yeah, you could see he was just not able to continue. And Ali had quite some fluid in his knee. Is that the way you say it? Swelling in his knee. So yeah, I don't know if Joe is going to train in 2 or 3 days. That's difficult for me to say. But it was clear that he couldn't go on today.
Last couple of Mendo's.
What's the latest on your Robertson? Do you think he was going to be a Liverpool player come the end of January?
What do you think my answer is going to be?
You?
Have I ever said anything about transfers in front of this microphone? No. So my answer is always the same, and it's quite boring to always give the same answer. By the way, my press conference after the game are also constantly the same. And the answer is we don't talk about transfers in public, not as long as there's something to say.
Most of
going to ask, was Kerkez tactical or was there an injury there as well?
No, there was not an injury. I wouldn't say it was tactical. It was obvious already before the game that it wasn't smart to play him another 90. There's a lot to be said about the players I constantly play, and I have to keep them fit. I have to manage their load. And it was yesterday when performance staff came to me and said, if we would have had an extra day, he wouldn't have trained yesterday to recover a little bit more. So then you're always in a certain risk zone. And I already had to make a substitution in the first half. So that means if you leave him on and you take him out after 60 minutes, your second substitution is left. So that's why I decided to take him off at halftime, because it was always the intention to take him off somewhere during the second half. And I did it now a little bit earlier.
Okay, John.
Thank you.